What's up, everybody? Big Herc, Prison Talk Live. Want to see how everybody's doing today. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Shout out to all the fans who've been supporting us, who have been keeping up with all of our videos and subscribing to our channel, for telling friends and family to subscribe. Thank you for those who have been tuning into the Instagram and Twitter. If you want to check out our website, we got our website at FreshOutSeries.com. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to email us at FreshOutSeries@gmail.com. So today I want to talk a little bit about, I forgot to mention SoundCloud. Check our SoundCloud out, FreshOutSeries. Also, check out Patreon, patreon.com, to check out Chef Big V. He's doing a lot with the prison spreads on there, so support him. Check that out. And today's topic, we've been doing a little bit different format. Before we do the shout-outs, we're going to do the shout-outs at the end. I'm going to give about 10 minutes at the end, do shout-outs. But for roughly 10 minutes, 12 minutes, I'm going to talk about a topic. And today's topic is mass incarceration. They talk about, United States is a prison nation and how many people we got locked up. But how much do you guys think it really cost? Does anybody have any idea how much it costs to house the inmates, to feed them, to defend them, to prosecute them, to bail them out? You know how much money the government's making, how much money it's costing everybody? Well, according to the Prison Policy Initiative, it's $182 billion a year. $182 billion is being spent on prisons. And so that's why you have such big involvement on what's going on. Not 5 billion, 182 billion. And this covers healthcare, telephone costs, family expenses, packages, private prisons, construction of new facilities. And a lot of this is at the state level, because the state houses probably 85% of the people that are incarcerated. The feds don't house as many people as the states, so the states house roughly 85%. And so, that's a lot of money. And, just for example, the people who are actually charging for the phone calls, like I say in prison, you guys probably don't know this, but a 15-minute phone call will cost you $24. Now, if somebody's making money off that, they got a contract with the federal facility or the state facility for that particular phone system. They're making roughly about $1.5 billion a year. The people providing food for the commissary, they're making roughly about, 1.3 million a year? No, 1.3 billion. And these are the people who provide the toothpaste, the deodorant, all the miscellaneous stuff as far as hygiene items, stuff like that, chips, all the stuff you eat on commissary. And so, between commissary and the phone, you're looking at probably about 4 billion right there. And then you have medical, for the inmates. That's expensive. And then you have employees. That's like 34 billion. Half of all the expenses of running these prisons goes to paying for the employees. So when you look at the people who are basically lobbying against prison reform, these are the guards, the guards union, the prison guard union, the employee administrative union of these prisons. They don't want to see the population go down because they'll be out of a job. They lobby to basically block a lot of initiatives that will basically shrink the prison population. 182 billion. NASA's budget for the space program is 18 billion. So they're spending 10 times, or almost, what is that, 100, over 10 times what NASA's spending to send people into space. Now imagine what you can do with that money if they put it into education, inner city development, reform as far as the neighborhoods, after school programs, maybe some actual rehabilitation programs. It all falls back that they don't really want to reform the prisons. They don't really want to rehabilitate anybody. They like to see your dumb ass coming back and forth. They like you to pass it on to your homies so you guys can come in here and hang out together and basically take advantage of this slave labor we got for you, and keep these jobs secured for the prison employees. They're not trying to create no unity. They don't want any type of they need to keep the racial tension going. They need the divide and conquer mentality enforced at its highest level, and that's what it's all about, because it's a $182 billion industry. Why do we want to why do we want to fuck that off? So everything from prosecution to indigent defenses, clothing, it all adds up, and it's big dollars. And a lot of people don't think about that, but it all ties in. It's all a part of the big program. On Fresh Out, we try to keep it real. I try to give you guys informed information, get your mind working a little bit. So if you got anybody in prison, you can holler at them and tell them that they've been bamboozled so they can get out and do something else with their life. And also maybe help you guys make wiser choices than I did. But federal, state, a lot of money. Healthcare, $12.3 billion. Prison, jail, probation, $80.7 billion. Even the bail bonds company is making a lot of money. $1.4 billion. So bail bonds is basically killing it, taking your property for you to get back out on the street trying to defend your case. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's capitalizing, but the people who are getting caught up. So, just think about it. Mass incarceration. I just want to throw that out there so you guys could get your, get some ideas of what's going on with the program, and basically get some insight today. No question. If you guys don't have any questions about that, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about what you guys, some questions you guys got on your mind today. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I know it's March Madness. A lot of people watching basketball. A lot of people on spring break. But I always try to stimulate something that's going to further my mind's awareness. And the mass incarceration thing, I had read about it over the weekend somewhat. I've read, I was in prison, so I knew about it, but I just thought I'd share that with you guys today. Somebody said, let me see, question. Somebody said, is hunger a problem in prison? Can you eat whenever you want if you have commissary items? If you have commissary, you can eat whenever you want. You can go cook in a microwave. You can, if they have hot water, you can heat your food up with hot water. Basically, it's open season if you have your own food. I mean, as long as you're not locked down, you have access to going and heating up your food. You can make food, because a lot of times the food in the commissary sucks. March Madness final, man, I don't know, man. It looked like it's going to be a good matchup, man. I've only seen highlights. I've been kind of busy going to car shows over the weekend, checking out some cool rides. So that's been my weekend. I haven't really actually sat down and watched a full game yet. So I know Florida lost, and then I've seen I can't remember who else. I don't know if UCLA's still in it. I know I was watching some highlights on another day, but a lot of good talent out there. A lot of youngsters out there putting in work. Somebody said, are officers scared of their job knowing they're surrounded by criminals? No, because all they got to do is push a button on their hip, and they can have every officer on the compound running to their aid. If anything kicks off in prison, what they do, they call it hitting the deuces. They got a little thing on their hip. When they hit that button, it's going down. They're running full force to whatever area that's being under stress. So yeah, they they don't mess around up in there when it comes to that. So the officers ain't tripping. Herc, do you think prison should be completely closed? I think they should. I think it should be, yeah, damn near, except for child molesters, people who hurt elderly, people who have committed serial killers, people who commit sick shit, dumbass assaults. A lot of the crimes, yeah, you do need an You do need to lock some people up. And even when I got locked up, it wakened me up. It gave me a chance to reflect on my life and to change the way that I looked at the way I was living. A lot of people don't reflect in there though, because they don't really. It's not like in Danish prisons where they have an environment where you're not caged up, where it's open, it's communal, you're sharing, you're communicating, you're learning to socialize outside your race, outside your culture. American prisons are racist. They promote career criminal behavior. They promote ignorance. They're not you're not really you aren't really, the guards aren't there, the people who work in there aren't there to help you. They're there to punish you. So it's a different mindset. Somebody said, what do you think about schizophrenia inmate in Florida who was bullied to death by guards and the guards was found innocent? I think that's fucked up, man. A lot of times these people, when you see what's going on, I mean, I've seen where one person was locked up, a female, and they refused to give her pants. So she went to court with just a top on with no pants. So she's walking around basically being humiliated and didn't have anything to cover up her bottom side. So, there's a lot of sick shit going on, man. And, the people in control, man, it becomes a power thing. And you get some people, man, and they really abuse their power, Why are they making more prisons instead of schools? Because they don't want, for the most part, I believe, to create an equal society not even equal, just balanced. If they cut the Department of Education and a lot of these schools that required funding aren't getting funded, imagine what's going to happen to just the communities. You go back and you look at, they didn't even let blacks go to regular schools. They didn't let blacks go to school, period. And so the federal government had to step in and force certain races to even go to school. So when you start cutting programs, you're hurting the minorities, because people with money, they can go to private schools, they can go to charter schools. So they're still going to get an education. And education is what separates social and economic status, plain and simple. If you're educated, you're going to make wiser decisions, you're going to have more opportunities, you're going to be able to elevate your family and the people around you. Somebody said, what do guards do when they find out they have a hit on them? I haven't dealt with that situation as far as the guards with a hit on them, but I know certain guards know their limits. So but I couldn't really speak on as far as they hit. I don't know anything about that. Somebody says, do you think it's a good idea to move to America now from the UK? Not unless you got some major business going on over here and you're gonna maybe short the stock market, or you got opportunities to come over here and just buy up a bunch of property. I haven't been in the UK, so I don't know what the economic conditions are there. But here, you got to be about your hustle, man. You can't sit on your ass and expect anybody to help you, basically pick you up unless you pick yourself up. Somebody said something about knuckle push-ups in prison. I never really got into those. I've done them before, but I used to just mainly do push-ups just to kind of keep my wind, to pump my chest up and just to stay on top of my game. Somebody said Somebody says, what happens if nobody approaches to let you know what's good when you first arrive? Somebody from whatever race always approaches you. If you're Mexican, you're going to get hit up by the Paisas, the Serranos, or the Norteños, or the Border Brothers. Somebody will hit you up and tell you where your people are, or tell you, what's up with what. As far as, if you're black, somebody's going to lace you up. Usually an OG or somebody who's just kind of like the house person who is like, hey man, holler at this dude if you need this, holler at this person. There's always somebody, usually somebody, the white boys have it, everybody has it. So it's basically across the board, somebody will lace you on kind of the do's and the don'ts to a degree. Not like what I'm sharing with you guys on Prison Talk, but to a degree. Somebody says, can masturbating in the showers get your wig split if another inmate catches you? Well, if you're showering in a communal shower, you're not going to beat your meat. You know what I'm saying? You're going if you're going to beat your meat, you're going to do it in a individual stall showers, which they have in a lot of places, and some of them are dark. And I know, and the motherfuckers that are dark, motherfuckers are probably in there beating their meat. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody walking up on you unless they got a problem while you're showering, and you're vulnerable while you're in the shower anyway. So beating your meat in the shower might not be a good idea, because the motherfucker catch you naked with your pee-pee hanging out, and you about to bust a nut, you might get your wig split. So somebody said, Big Herc, does Hollywood get prison life right? Hollywood, it's a lot of glamorization. If you watch like the Fast and Furious series, or you see Oz or some of these shows, they throw a lot of extra. They throw a lot of free time when you're moving around and nobody's watching you. I mean, they got cameras everywhere in prison. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, if shit goes down, they'll go back and watch the tape to see what actually happened. And that's how they do their investigations. Plus, you got prison snitches everywhere. Motherfuckers that are just snitching just to be snitching. So, it's a lot of telling going on, and motherfuckers that you think are cool ain't really that cool. Somebody said, how'd I get along with the Filipinos in prison? Asians in general? I was cool with them. I had a Filipino homeboy within our cooking crew. We used to cook and work out together. Had an Asian partner. I fucked with him on the street when we got out. Good dude, you know what I'm saying? So I was cool with him. Somebody said, how do you become a trustee? Usually, you develop a relationship maybe with a guard in there that's somewhat cool, but you're not like riding the nuts of that guard. And they'll see that you're about your business, and they'll offer you a trustee job. So that's kind of like what happens, man. They, the guards kind of peep game, see you're, they'll say, hey, you want to come out and clean, or you want to do this and that. And then eventually they might offer you a trustee job. Somebody said, Big Herc, really liked the talk you did at Lock High. Are you planning to do more? Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to doing more talks at grade schools, high schools, colleges, business seminars. If you got anybody that's looking for somebody to come talk, holler at me. Shoot us an email at FreshOutSeries@gmail.com. We'll put some arrangements together. But I'm looking forward to talk to more, youngsters and adults about, positive change and being successful. Somebody says, what is the most authentic prison movie? Any prison movie you watched and thought that it was near accurate? One of the best movies prison movies I saw, I thought was really good, was Shawshank Redemption. It's fucked up, and the warden was, corrupt, motherfucker, man, but he got his at the end, blew his motherfucking head off, and old boy got up out of there. I thought that was a great movie. I don't know how accurate it is as far as, because the time was different time back then, and I'm quite sure that was, it was possible something like that could happen. As far as modern day prison movies, I don't really watch. I mean, I watch a gangster shit, but I don't really watch per se prison movies. So, I don't really know what's up with that. But somebody said, what happens if I blow a female guard a kiss? If she isn't into you, you're gonna get sent to the hole. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna write your ass up for basically. It could be, I don't know, bullshit assault, or fraternizing with female guard. The female guards in there may play a lot of games. Sometimes they'll be flirtatious. I've seen a motherfucker kissing a female guard on a stairwell. I just act like I didn't see it. I played it off, but it does go down in there, And yes, with the right opportunity, I'll come and speak in any state, not just California. I'll travel. I'm down to travel, so that's not a problem. Um, yeah, man. It's as far as what's being shown out there on TV, man. A lot of it's glamorized. A lot of the lockup shows, they're showing people hollering through the mail slot, the food slot, and all this shit, and talking all the stupid shit. But those aren't people who are going to really get out and do anything. They don't really show you the guy who's learning real estate, stocks, maybe a trade, and he's going to start his own business, because that's not what they want to promote to the people in general, as far as the public, as far as how inmates are living. But yeah, man. Somebody said, is there more people trying to do their time, or more people trying to put in work for the gang? More, I would say you got a lot of dudes just fucking in there hanging. I would say 60-40. 40% like just kind of doing their time, staying out the way. 60% in the mix. A lot of people are followers. They get in prison and they follow, man. They don't know how to, they don't know how to stand on their own feet. A lot of people, they feel like they got to be a part of a clique in order to feel like they're strong in prison, and they've never been taught individual, they've never been taught an individual foundation, so they just basically follow what the big homie tells them. Somebody said, how do I feel about the show 60 Days In? I haven't really watched that show. Shows relating to like prison, as far as like, 60 Days In and, lock up abroad, whatever. I really don't really get into them, because I've been there and I've seen enough of this shit. My whole thing now is trying to show a different angle of it. So I don't really watch a lot of the shows that are relating to jail or prison in that aspect. Somebody said, did I plead guilty to robbery in my case? Yeah, I did. I pled guilty and I was sentenced to 120 months. You can see my whole story is on the website, and also on our YouTube, FreshOutSeries Life After the Penitentiary. Yeah, 60 Days In, I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll check out a highlight, see what it's about, but I've never really watched a full episode of that show. Somebody said, was taking food from the kitchen hard in prison? Yeah, man, I talked about it in one of our, I think before, where we'd have a distraction, and you basically, matter of fact, on the shower episode, I talk about, on Prison Talk, about how you stuff the food in your underwear, in between your underwear and boxers, and you get somebody to block for you, and they act like they have something in it, and then you go behind them and you sneak the food out. Or you could pay somebody to sneak it out for you. Sometimes they got guys who specialize in stealing food out the kitchen, and you can have them sneak it out for you. Well, at the same time, did you ever split a chomo's wig? I never really got into it with a chomo, man. I didn't fuck with I didn't even know anybody who was a chomo in there, and if I did, he would have got his wig split. But I wasn't really socializing with anybody that was on that kind of time. How would an MMA fighter do in prison? Shit, I knew a cat from Hawaii, because I used to fuck with a lot of Hawaiians. Shout out to Hawaii. And he was an MMA fighter. He used to train with, I think, what's his name, from Hawaii, the MMA fighter. I just slipped my mind. But some dudes try to, jump him, man, and he whooped their motherfucking ass up in there. You know what I'm saying? He put it down on them. So, if you got fighting skills, a lot of guys go in there, it's just, they're fighting out of fear. But if you actually are skill set, you can whoop a lot of ass up in there. I want to do a few shout outs. Shout out to Alabama. Shout out to USP Beaumont. Shout out to the Philippines. Somebody says, Big Herc, how do you feel getting behind the wheel again after not driving for almost 10 years? It was a great feeling, man. It was a great feeling, man. I used to fantasize about driving again, man, and being able to get in the car. That's like my greatest relief when I'm on the street. Sometimes I get a little flustered in traffic, but man, I love driving. I love being in the car and having the opportunity to, control where I want to go in life, with my own destiny. You know what I'm saying? BJ Penn, that was the guy from who, the dude used to train under. So, He was a cool cat. I forgot his name from Hawaii, but yeah, he used to fuck with BJ Penn on the street, and he knew his shit. Shout out to London. Once again to the Philippines. Shout out to Chino Hills. What's up? Big up from Citrus Heights. And shout out to Jamaica. You know, I don't still skateboard or BMX. I'm too big now. I done gained 100 and something pounds since I was last skateboarding and back in the days, but I used to love that sport. I still love watching the X Games. Somebody said something about, is there cuckolds in prison? Nah, that's a street thing. That's when I was getting out, out here on the street, busting the cheeks of all these married men's wives. You know what I'm saying? That's how I got my numbers back up. That's a cuckold, the dude who likes to watch his wife get banged out by another dude. Shout out to Mexico. Shout out to LA. Shout out to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Shout out to Abu Dhabi. Somebody was asking how you stay in shape and can you train MMA in prison. You can't do any organized fight training in prison. You know, a lot of times you might get in a cell with a guy and he'll train you one-on-one, or you'll have like a room and you have somebody keep lookout, keep point, and you guys will practice certain things in there. But the guards don't want you actively training each other on any type of defense or fighting techniques. So shout out to Chicago. Shout out to I miss somebody else's shout out. I'll try to get you back in later. You can't teach boxing in prison? No, that's not. You'll get written up for that. You know, they don't even like you working out in more than groups of, I think, 5 people or 4 people. They try to break that up because they don't like that military, any type of military style of, working out or anything like that. Somebody says, "Do I still watch porn?" Of course, shit, man. I'm not gay. You know, I love looking at I think porn is a beautiful thing, and it's a way for people to vent. And I don't see nothing wrong with it, as long as you ain't looking at no fucking little kids on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jordan. Somebody said, "What happens to pretty boys in prison? Do other inmates get at them or even get their wig split?" If you're a pretty boy, I mean, I knew some dudes that were pretty boys, but they knew how to throw them hands. So it's not, your looks, play a factor to some degree, because people might think, oh, you're soft. But a lot of times, you can never underestimate a person, man. You never know what a person's capable of. I mean, you're not walking around there plucking your eyebrows and shit, but if a motherfucker's a good-looking dude and, he's about his business, he's intelligent, he can throw them hands, he's going to have the respect of the people around him. Somebody said, "What's up, Big Herc? What's the top 5 commissary items?" Shit, man. Probably either mackerel, tuna, or salmon. You got different forms of chips as far as food. What else? Tortillas, cheese, and oatmeal. Those are probably some of the top things that's always sold in a soda pop. A lot of guys are buying a lot of soda pop in there. So, shout out to Guam. Shout out to OKC. Shout out to Vancouver. Did prison open my eyes to the issue of race in America, or were you that way before? Well, like I said, I grew up on a military base. I had Filipino friends, Vietnamese friends, Asian friends, Mexican friends, white friends. So I was pretty well diverse. I was cultured, but being in the feds, I ran across a lot of guys from the South and guys from like East Coast, and they weren't as cultured as I was. So they found it kind of weird sometimes when I would hang out with Asian guys or talk to white guys. They, they would kind of trip off of that, because it's surprising that a lot of these guys never had friends outside their race. They never had girlfriends outside their race. I was fucking black, Mexican, white girl, Asian. I had all kind of, I wasn't limiting myself to just black people in general as far as who I socialized with when I was on the streets before I went to prison. But prison, it does open your eyes up to see how they're promoting it on a small scale and pushing it to the masses. Just the ignorance. Shout out to Linwood, California. Why? Somebody said, why does East Coast people don't get along with West Coast? You know, a lot of times, man, it's just politics, man. It's you know, it's over money. Who's controlling the drugs? Who's letting everybody eat? Because you know, if you're on the West Coast and dudes are out here from the East Coast and they got a clique, you know, they want to be able to eat too because they don't have maybe family support or people coming to visit them. So they want to be able to share in the money that's being circulated in a prison. Drugs are big in prison, man. You know, there was dudes in Lompoc bringing in, you know, lots of heroin, and everybody in that motherfucker was making money. You know, I mean, not everybody, but the people that were involved were making a lot of money. So, you know, a lot of times the different tension among, you know, races, whether it be black on black, Mexican, it's a lot of times it's drugs, man, and then old politics, but it's mainly drugs and money, man. Somebody says, how did I get my nickname Big Herc? Big Herc I got when I was in Sac County fighting a case. You know, a cat said, hey, you look like Hercules. And then, you know, from there it kind of stuck. And then Big Herc, you know, came in front of it because I got a little size on me. And I just kept the name, man, you know. And so I've had that name since I was probably like 18, you know, Big Herc. And it just stuck with me. Somebody says, is BLM helping race relations in America? Not sure who the BLM is, but as far as race relations, I think that you know, that's something we got to work in as a community, and the schools have a big part in that because, you know, being able to, you know, do the integration in the different schools and to go to school outside your immediate community allows you to, you know, look past the color of skin because this is just a shell. You know what I mean? Black Lives Matter. You know, and the thing about Black Lives Matter, it's not saying that other lives don't matter, but the fact is, when you're seeing shit being filmed, and the thing is, if nobody had a camera, this stuff wouldn't be exposed. I mean, a lot of times they're like, oh, they want to show, you know, they like, well, this guy, he was a felon. Well, you didn't know he was a felon before you beat his ass. You know, you did that after you ran his record. But I think, you know, a lot of times, you know, on both sides, you know, you got to know how to communicate. But at the same time, I'm not living in certain areas. I just know that they pick on a certain demographic of people. So, you know, all that's doing was bringing attention. And a lot of people are in denial, man. Look at our history. This country's based on racism. Somebody said, does the institution encourage homosexuality? I think so. I think they're on some gay shit up in there, man. You know what I'm saying? Why the fuck would you pass a bill to not allow porn books in prison? You know, what the fuck is that? You know, I'm looking at a porn book beating my meat in prison. You know, I'm minding my business, and you don't want to allow any more porn books in prison or pictures of coochie or ass because you're saying that it promotes aggressive attentions or whatever the case. Man, that's some fucking bullshit. It's because a lot of these lawmakers are closeted homosexuals and they're cuckolds. They like seeing the BBC going up in they little, you know, they wives, man. That's just the fact. You know what I'm saying? I seen it when I was out here. You know what I'm saying? And they, you know, a lot of dudes wouldn't dare allow you to date their daughter, but they'll let you put that BBC in their wife. So yeah, it's some gay shit, man. You know what I'm saying? It's fucked up, man. You know, you got to have a guard sneak a fucking a book in to look at some pussy. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said, did anybody ever write me? I got some letters from, you know, I got a close homeboy. Shout out to D and Sack. He used to write me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of motherfuckers, you know, left me by the wayside, man. And no, I'm not a racist, man. You're the problem, Paul. So why don't you just, you know what I'm saying, get the fuck off the motherfucking feed. But anyways, yeah, you know, I got a couple family members wrote, but I didn't get any visits. None of the porn girls wrote. You know what I mean? You know, for the most part, man, I just had to do my time by myself, man, and just like stay motivated so that I didn't get fucking depressed up in there, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was fucked up. It's possible to not see color or is race an integral part of American experience? You know what? You don't grow up knowing what race is. A black and white baby or toddler do not know that they're different colors. That's taught. That's taught by your parents. That's taught by society. That's taught by just the people you grow up around. You're not taught to hate because of color. You're not born to hate because of color. You're taught that, and yeah, man, it could be a joke, it could be just a comment, but people say, "Oh, I'm not racist," but then they'll say a joke about, say, Asians, or they'll say a joke about Mexicans, or a joke about Italians, or they'll make a joke about blacks and think it's cute, but that's underlining racism, man. And it's just ignorance, man. And a lot of times it's fear based. You're scared because you're intimidated by the opposite race, so that's why you make those comments. Um, You can see somebody said, "Did I get any tats while I was inside?" Yeah, I got my back tatted up. I got my both my forearms tatted up. They faded now, you know what I mean, because I just the ink didn't hold as well, and I'm dark skinned. But yeah, I got a big ass back tattoo, and I got both my arms tatted up, my forearms. Somebody said, "What's the most famous porn star I fucked?" Somebody's on the porn stuff today. Shit, man, I'm not sure. Janet Jackme, China, shit, I can't remember, man. It was years ago. I mean, shit, a lot of it's a blur, man, as far as, who I was putting that pee-pee in. Um, Somebody said, "Big Herc, my cousin asked me to have you explain lock in a sock, because when I say it, he gets frustrated." Lock in a sock. Um, Lock in a sock is when you take a regular sock, drop a lock in it that you will lock something up with, whether it be a chain or a locker. You tie that in a knot and you swing it around so you can use that as a weapon. So if a motherfucker, you have locks on your lockers in prison, and so you can take that lock off, take an old sock, and if you ain't got a knife, you can basically do just as much damage with that lock in the sock. You hit a motherfucker upside the head, he gonna get some get right about himself. Somebody says, "How was it doing security after prison?" It was weird, man, because I'm bouncing at a club, working on a dance floor, getting at bitches and shit, and I get to bust a motherfucker up if he acts stupid or if he's drunk. But it's like almost like surreal, after being locked up, and then now I'm bouncing to make some extra dollars on the side, trying to get my life back together, But yeah, it was a cool experience though. Somebody asked me about bench pressing. I don't really do too much bench pressing anymore. Most I bench with 405. Sometimes I work out with 225, but usually I do a lot of dumbbells, a lot of cable work. I don't really do a lot of heavy weights anymore. Oh, somebody asked about blanket parties. Now, blanket parties is I've seen them get down like that. That's when they basically motherfucker come in there, and it'd be a group of dudes, and they'll throw a blanket over you and basically rush you and just put hands on you. And it might be like 8 to 10 dudes, man, that just come in there and rush a motherfucker with a blanket that they open up like a spider web over a dude and bust his shit. So yeah, the blanket party, I seen that go down one time on a dude. I don't know what he did, but they fucked his ass up. You don't need a guard card to bounce at a club. You know what I'm saying? You're not carrying a firearm, and it's not like really private security at like a high level. You're just working a club, so a lot of times they don't really do no background check on nothing like that. But it's you guys. It's going on 40 minutes. If you got any more shout outs, holler at me. I'm about to wrap this thing up. I thank you guys for tuning in. Tell your other people to tune in, your friends, man. Let your family know. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, email us your questions at FreshOutSeries@gmail.com. I'm hoping I'm giving you guys some good info. I'm glad you guys are tuning in with some good questions, and I really appreciate you guys' feedback. We're going to try to keep it rolling with the prison talks. I'm working on getting you guys some really good interviews. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep the ball rolling, man, with some positive stuff and some really entrepreneurial stuff going on. Shout out to Tokyo. Shout out to North Carolina. Shout out to Oak Park. Shout out to Crenshaw. Shout out to Compton. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to San Diego. Shout out to the Vallejo, Valley Joe. Yeah, Bay Area. Shout out to Richmond. And, you know, all much love to everybody who be putting in work. Shout out to Gardena. You know what I'm saying? You guys, you know what I'm saying? Keep, you know, stay focused. Be about your business. Be about your bread. Shout out to Sacramento, Sacktown. Shout out to Boston. Shout out to Long Beach. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Have a good week. And I'll be back at you guys next week with some more, you know, Prison Talk Live. Shout out to Bompton. Hey, man. Shout out to everybody, you know, who's tuning in, putting in work. And you guys take care of yourself out there, man. And, you know, look for the new Fresh Outs coming up. And also tune in to Prison Talk. And also the Prison Spreads on Patreon, Patreon.com. All right, y'all. I'm out.